Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming at you with another Minks Monday Q&A, and before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking, and that is the Chanel GST in the black caviar leather with the gold hardware. I finally gave my Louis Vuitton Neverfull MM in monogram a break. My goodness, I was using that bag for quite some time. And I also want to let you guys know that I know the lighting might look a little off. Normally I film in front of a window to try to get as much natural light as I possibly can, except for the one light that helps me not look so washed out. But it's been raining for the last 2 days, so if the lighting's a little off, now you know why. All right, so let's get started with the very first question, shall we? From Laura Greenfield. Question: with the quality of Louis Vuitton in question, what is another brand you feel confident with now? Would you invest in jewelry instead? This is a very, very good question. I guess you could say I've been dabbling in Yves Saint Laurent, and really I have my hubby to thank for that because of the clutch he gave me for Valentine's Day, this beauty right here. I've actually used it a few times. We had a wedding to attend this past week, and I have to tell you guys that this pebbled leather is probably, if not better, it's probably as good, if not maybe a little bit better than the caviar leather for Chanel. I absolutely love it. I thought it was going to maybe have to be a little bit more careful with it, but it wasn't a fussy clutch at all. It was such a joy to use, and I love the fact that I didn't have to baby it. So I'm really thinking about possibly adding an Yves Saint Laurent piece to my collection. I still want to use this a little bit more, and yes, I will be doing a review on it the more and more I use it. Just to see if that's something that I want to invest in, getting a bigger bag, or getting a bag, or getting something else. But so far, I'm really, really liking the Saint Laurent line, and who knows, maybe that is the new direction that I'm going in. But I have to say that I think I'll still end up purchasing Louis Vuitton, and obviously I love Chanel. I'm very happy with Chanel's what's it called, quality right now and everything. I haven't had any issues, so I'd have to say Yves Saint Laurent and maybe possibly Celine. I'm still a little apprehensive as to fully going into, you know, purchasing another Celine bag, even though I really, really want a trapeze. I don't like some of the... When you go into the boutique, they say that a lot of the items, especially the ready-to-wear, is a final sale. You can't return anything. And I feel that when you're spending that much money on a bag, you kind of have that peace of mind that you can return something if it doesn't work out, you know? So it's not that I'm one to just buy and return, not at all. But as I've told you guys before, when you spend this much money, if it doesn't work out, if you go home and you try it out in the comfort of your own home and maybe with different outfits and it just doesn't work out, I love the fact that you're able to return it without a problem. But like I said, I've only heard of that happening for the ready-to-wear for the Celine line. But still, I don't know. I'm still kind of taking baby steps. I still love my Phantom, but it's just something that I have to really think about. And I've told you guys before, when you get that gut instinct of, you know, why you're not jumping into a brand, it's kind of, you know, your body's way or your mind's way of telling you, take it slow and maybe not just now. So yeah. Okay. And would you invest in jewelry instead? Jewelry, maybe. I definitely appreciate a lot of pieces from Cartier, and I think if anything, it would probably be a luxury watch because I just love watches. I love watches just as much as I love handbags. So maybe like a Rolex. I mean, we saw a Rolex. I think it was a month and a half ago at one of the jewelry stores, and I just fell in love with it. So maybe a Rolex. I don't know, but yeah, I think I have too much fun with fashion jewelry. I mean, I would be devastated if I spent so much money on a jewelry piece and I ended up losing, if I ended up losing it, I don't know, sometimes I'm clumsy and it would break my heart. So I love the fashion jewelry, you know, aspect, but maybe just stick with a nice, beautiful watch. That's what I say now. Who knows? It might change. Okay. Tess C. Just want your opinion. Retiro or Speedy Bandolier 30? I would have to say the Speedy Bandolier 30, just because of how the strap is for the crossbody strap. It's a lot longer, and I feel that if I ever were to purchase a bandolier, it would kind of, it would suit my frame a little bit better. Okay, Sandra Ortiz. What are your thoughts on the Retiro NM? I know you don't like crossbody, but maybe share your thoughts. Okay, so I recently, if you would have asked me a year ago what I thought of the Retiro, I think we actually talked about it on Minks Monday. I've told you guys that I'm not a big fan of it. It wasn't a bag that I really didn't find it an attractive bag. I especially didn't like it in the Vachetta with the monogram combo. I don't know, I'm not trying to knock against it, but it just wasn't for my lifestyle. Now recently I was able to, one of my clients ended up selling their Retiro NM with the black trim. And I have to tell you, when I saw that bag, my jaw dropped. I actually showed it to my hubby, and my hubby said, that is a really beautiful bag. Something that he rarely says. So I was kind of like, what? You know, it took me by surprise. And the more and more, like when I was taking pictures of it, I like the structure. It does seem to have a little bit of softness to it. So as you wear it, it'll start to soften out and maybe lose its shape just a tad. And I know a lot of people talk about the Retiro having little dents on the side. So let's say here's the bag, right? It starts to dent on the sides, and therefore it'll start to sag over time. But even still, I just thought it was a beautiful bag. I held it, and it just seemed like a very, very comfortable bag. I don't like, of course, the crossbody. You guys know that. And it just seems like it's a little too short, so you'd have to, obviously it's not for crossbody, but it's for a shoulder bag. But it just, it was a lot prettier than I thought it was. So I really should take the time to eat my words at this moment and really give kudos to how beautiful that bag is. Is it something that I would probably purchase in the future? Probably not, but I can definitely appreciate it a lot more now that I've had the chance to interact with it. But it is a very, very, it is a very pretty bag, my goodness. And the leather is so soft, the microfiber, ooh, forget about it. Okay, Makeup Craze 21. I have been meaning to ask, is there a difference between Louis Vuitton bag made in the US or other parts of the world? I have a bag made in the US and about to buy another one, so now I wonder. There is definitely no difference. It's pretty much just pieces. It's just, it's items, or it's items. It's, yeah, it's leather pieces. It's my goodness, it's canvas pieces, you know, from the French company that are just assembled in the US and Italy and Spain. That's all it is. Everything comes from France. But I will have to tell you guys that I am what you would consider a made in France snob. I've told you guys this a million times before, right? So I prefer my Louis Vuitton pieces to be made in France. To me, it's kind of, and I've said this before as well, I kind of feel that it's, you know, it's kind of like having a champagne, a French champagne, and then you turn it around and on the bottle it says, you know, manufactured and bottled in San Diego. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's kind of the fact that, you know, French champagne, or it's a French label, you want it to say made in France. At least that's how I feel anyways. A lot of people will disagree with me. And most of the made in France pieces actually tend to sell a little bit better, I think because of the same reason. A lot of us think that it's a French company. Why wouldn't you want it to say made in France, right? But I will have to say this. Out of all of the pieces, I was actually thinking about this the other day, out of all of the pieces that I've had in my collection, the ones that I've had to repair or replace are ones made in France. I have never, ever had a problem with a made in the US piece. Not that I can recall anyways. So it definitely, I'm not trying to say that only go for made in US pieces by any means whatsoever. As I told you guys before, I am a made in France snob. And I will admit it 100%, you know, but I did notice that I haven't had that many issues with my US pieces versus my made in France pieces. So, yeah, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, some people really want to hold out for example, a Speedy to be made in France. And, you know, there might be a multitude of US pieces in the boutique, but they really want that France piece. And I just say, go with your heart. If you really want the bag right then and there, then go for it. If you're wanting to wait for a US piece or a France piece or a Spain piece or Italy, it doesn't matter. All that matters is if you really like the bag, then go for it. I'm just very, very meticulous when I when I purchase my items. I look at every nook and cranny. Call me crazy, but again, I've told you guys before, when we are going to spend this much money on a handbag, on a wallet, why not try to get the best and the best piece that the boutique has to offer? That's how I feel anyways. So yeah, but no, there's really no difference. Okay, Rachel Z. What do you think about the Louis Vuitton twist in rose ballerine color? I checked a few of them in the boutique, but they all have dark marks on the bottom of the bag. The essay said the mark can be easily removed, but I still don't feel comfortable about it. Perfect example of what I was just talking about. Okay, so the sales associate is saying it's easy to remove the mark and, you know, just to feel comfortable about the purchase. The way that I feel about it, as I just told you guys, when we spend this much money, you know, some people might think I'm being such a diva, or I'm being, you know, a little too, maybe snobbish. Maybe that's another word for it. I don't know. But they feel that, as I told you guys, when we spend this much money, I expect perfection from Louis Vuitton. I don't want a black mark. I don't want a white mark on, I don't want any kind of marks on my purchase on my item without even me using them. With, you know, if they come off the assembly line, the assembly line, for lack of a better word, or term, I don't want them to have marks on them. If anyone's going to have if it's going to have marks, they're going to come from me, because it's a new bag and I feel that new bags should look perfect. We shouldn't expect anything less. And you know how I feel about the twist. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this. I'm not a big fan on it, because I feel that it looks too similar to a Chanel boy bag. And as I've told you guys in the past, I feel that I would like to credit the fashion house that came up with the initial design and only go for that fashion house that has that design, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like if Chanel came out with a Speedy, I would just kind of be like, no, you know, a Speedy silhouette belongs to the Louis Vuitton fashion house, if that makes any sense. But yeah, again, if there's a mark, if there's a rip, if there's what's something else, if the hardware is already kind of scratched up, and if I've heard sales associates tell me this, they're like, oh, it's going to happen anyways. It's like, okay, I get it. If it was pre-loved, 100% I understand that. Or if I purchase it and it gets scratched, I'm scratching it, but I'm buying it brand new and I'm spending $2,000 for something that's already scratched. That doesn't make you feel all warm and fuzzy. Am I right, or am I crazy? You know, I just feel like that's, I don't know. I feel like it's common sense, and some of these sales associates should understand where we're coming from. And a lot of them get very frustrated with us. You know, if we say, can you bring out another one? Can you bring out another one? And they're just kind of like, sure, I'll bring out another one. It's like, hey, I'm spending the money. If you want to gift it to me, then by all means, I'll take it. But if I'm going to buy it with my own money, then it better look freaking good. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Priscilla Pedersen, new follower, and wishing you did a video every day, laughing out loud. Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. I do have a question about price increases. I've heard Louis Vuitton has done this in the past, but will this happen in the future? I have a certain bag in mind, but I don't want to wait too long if the price will increase. You know, there's always, Louis Vuitton, for the most part, in the past, they have always done 2 price increases a year, whether it's April and October or March and November, or those might be mixed up. But it's either of those 4 months, my goodness, twice a year. And there has been speculation. I know Canada just had a recent price increase, but we haven't had a price increase here in the States yet. And I mean, you never know. Honestly, you never know with Louis Vuitton. As I said before, they always had 2 price increases a year, but we haven't heard anything. All we hear is rumors that sales associates tell people when they're purchasing something, oh, you better get it because the price increase will happen next week. And then here comes next week and nothing happens. So what I would suggest is if you really like a piece, I would go out and purchase it. And, you know, don't give in to the pressures of there being a price increase. I used to do that in the beginning. I used to freak out, like literally freak out. And, you know, I'm just like, oh my goodness, this bag is going to be $250 more next week if I wait and stuff like that. And then I would notice that months and months would go by and the bag was still the same price. So if you feel comfortable, if you feel confident, then I would go ahead and get it right then and there. Or if you want to wait a little bit, then you can do that as well. But I honestly can't say. I know we are in March now, and it might happen at the end of this month. It might happen next week. It might even happen as you know, I didn't even check the website this morning. It might have already happened today for the US, but I can't tell you with certainty, so my apologies. Okay, SJ Midja 24. I have 3 questions for you. I have a Speedy 25 in Damier Ben, a Josephine wallet, and a mini pochette accessoire. A mini pochette accessoire? With the same print. Maybe it's just mini pochette. Should I get the other 2 mini pochette prints? I'm not really a big fan of the monogram canvas. I want to get the key pouch in Damier Ben and also going to buy a mini pochette accessoire in Damier Azur. Will the empreinte leather in the color noir transfer and Damier Azur in my Speedy 25 Damier Ben? Personally, if you're not a big fan of a particular print, maybe if you want to have the trifecta of it, if you're not a fan of it, I wouldn't go for it, because what might end up happening is that you buy it and then you don't end up using it and it ends up sitting there. So I would always suggest going for an item that you know you're going to love and you know you're going to use. But if you already don't like a certain print, then I wouldn't go for it. Now, does the empreinte leather key pouch transfer? If you have abrasive rubbing on it, you'll start to see it. Like I did it with the empreinte, the black empreinte clay that I have. Remember how I told you guys that it had a little bit of markings on the top where I ended up getting it hot stamped? I took a white cloth and I was kind of rubbing in a circular motion, and after a little while you can see a little bit of the black, you know, the black leather color come out on the white cloth. But for the most part, if you're just putting it in your bag, nothing will happen to it. I know that I have used some lighter items with my empreinte leather and nothing has happened. It's a very, very great, it reminds me of Damier Ben as far as how careful or how carefree the piece is. And I don't believe it will transfer onto your Azur Speedy 25 and Damier Azur in my Speedy 25. Well, the empreinte leather, I think I'm reading this wrong. Transfer in Damier Azur in my Speedy. Okay, if you put the Damier Azur piece inside of a Damier Ben piece, yes, it will color transfer. I had an issue with that. I had a cosmetic pouch, a Damier Azur cosmetic pouch that I put inside of my Speedy 35 Damier Ben, and it started to rub, and obviously because of the white and the red, it ended up getting pink on the sides, and it was literally in there for a few hours. So I would be very, very careful with that because it will color transfer. Okay, Chase Johnson, how do you feel about the alleged Louis Vuitton quality decrease? I'm not gonna lie, I feel heartbroken. You know, I loved Louis Vuitton since I first set my eyes on the brand, and it was always a holy grail brand for me. You know, I never thought when I was younger that I'd end up purchasing these items. I never thought in a million years I'd have the collection that I have. So it kind of, it hurts a little bit. It might sound stupid. It might sound like, really, it's just a bag, it's just a brand. But it's just, there's so many memories that I've tied in with a lot of the pieces that I have, or just with the brand in general, you know what I mean? And will it deter me from purchasing Louis Vuitton in the future? Probably not, but I will tell you that I'm going to be a little bit more careful, and I'm going to think, I'm really going to think twice about the pieces that I get. So maybe if before I was a little bit more gung-ho because it was on my wish list, I might have to go to the boutique 2 or 3 times and really see if it's a piece that I want in my collection, just because of, you know, all the issues that you hear going on. And it's just, I feel that the customer service is really what's lacking the most. And I'm not saying that all, you know, sales associates are horrible by any means whatsoever. I have had some amazing sales associates inside of the boutiques, but for the most part, I don't feel that connection anymore. I don't feel that I don't feel that comfortable, I guess you can say, purchasing from a sales associate without me thinking that they're just trying to make a sale. You know what I mean? I still have my sales associates that I continually go to, but when they're not there, it just seems kind of weird. It seems kind of off when I go inside. You know what I mean? Do you guys get that feeling that it just doesn't seem right? It almost feels not surreal. It feels like something's changed. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if you guys feel that same way, let me know in the comment section down below. So hopefully I'm not crazy. But yeah, and I feel that the quality control, I think it's because they have so many, the supply and demand is there so much that maybe, you know, sometimes a lot of these pieces end up slipping past the goalie, if you will, and I think it's bound to happen, but I just feel that it's happening so often that it would make me question whether or not I want to keep purchasing from them. Well, I'm saying that in general, but will it keep me from purchasing from them? No, but like I said before, I'm going to be a little bit more careful on the items that I do end up adding to my collection, if that makes any sense. Okay, MS Panders 10. Oh, my wonderful friend MS Panders. She has an awesome YouTube YouTube account. She does videos on luxury goods. I absolutely love her. She is fabulous. If you can, check her out. She's very, very thorough when she does her reviews. What do you think of the Pont-Nuef in MM size? I have the Mocktail MM in taupe. Oh, beautiful. And that is my favorite bag in my collection because it is so organized and structured. I really want another Mocktail MM in the color noir, but I'm also eyeing the Pont-Nuef MM. Would love to hear your thoughts. So the Louis Vuitton Pont-Nuef MM retails for $3,100 here in the States. It is made of all Empire empreinte leather, and it has the microfiber lining on the inside. It is a beautiful bag. The best way that I can describe it is that it reminds me of the Retiro as far as the structure of it, just in empreinte. And I guess you could say that one of the best features that it has is the fact that it has a zippered closure, which is something that Mocktail doesn't have. So it has that security. It comes with an extra shoulder strap. And I absolutely love the shape of it, the structure of it. So I am definitely for it. It is a beautiful, beautiful bag. Like I said, it definitely reminds me of the Retiro NM, just in the empreinte leather. So I say go for it. It is gorgeous. Plus, it'd be nice to have a little bit of variety. So that way, I mean, it depends if you absolutely love the Mocktail and that's the only, that's the only bag style that you like from the empreinte, then go for it. But personally, I like the variety of adding the Pont-Nuef. It is just absolutely stunning. Stunning. Okay, next question. Madam Beautiful. I'm planning to buy my artsy MM mono soon, but I'm planning to buy it on my trip to France this summer because I really wanted to say made in France or Spain. I feel ya. I feel ya. But I heard you mention in an old video that summer season is worse because Louis Vuitton in Paris is usually sold out of everything. Is that true? I don't remember. I don't know. I've never been to Paris in the summertime, so I don't recall saying that. But do you know how often they restock or the chances of them being out of that bag? It seems they usually have the more popular bags available, like the Speedy. I'm going to try both Louis Vuittons in Paris as well as the one in Nice. Hopefully they have it, and any buying tips or suggestions. Also, regarding packing the boxes to travel back, any tips for that? Can you do a video regarding traveling internationally with these goods? I know you mentioned the VAT, but do they charge you fees when coming back? I heard one person mention that if the item is valued at over $1,000, they charge you a fee or a tax. Please help. Thanks. Okay. So first things first. When we were there I've been there in November and I've been there in March. And both times when I was talking to the sales associate, she said that they actually restock their items a lot more frequently than boutiques here or boutiques anywhere in the world do. So let's say that you go on Monday and they're sold, they don't have any. Chances are by Thursday or Friday, they'll end up having that piece. What I would suggest is maybe calling the store ahead. They won't tell you with certainty if they'll have the piece when you're there, but they can tell you how popular the bag is. And if I do remember correctly, they did have quite a bit of the artsies in stock the last time we were there in in March. But the ones that they actually run out of the most are the Empreinte Artsies. So I don't, maybe it was a thing for that year. I don't know. But I would definitely suggest calling them and seeing, just to kind of get a little bit more info from their on their behalf. They might tell you that they might restock it 3 or 4 times a week. I don't know. But I know that the Artsy is definitely considered one of the popular bags. So I feel that some of the popular bags, as you said, the Neverfulls, the Speedies, they will definitely keep in stock because, as you all know, Paris is the #1 tourist destination in the world, and especially that Louis Vuitton store gets millions and millions of tourists a year. So I would assume that they would, they would make sure to have those popular bags fully stocked all the time. But again, I would just call and just verify that. What else? Now, when it comes to packing, and I've thought about doing a packing video as far as bringing back your goodies internationally. I really have thought about that, but I think I should have done it last year. It would have definitely been a little bit easier for me to do that instead of repacking it. But what I would suggest, for example, we had 2 suitcases. I had my keep-all, and then we had the carry-on. The keep-all was a carry-on, and then we had another carry-on. So we had a total of 4 pieces of luggage that we were taking. And I would suggest that if you go with someone else, to try to pack as much of your goodies inside of one suitcase and maybe not have so much in the other suitcase. That way you kind of already have an idea as to what you're bringing back to the States, or what you're going to purchase when you're, in the Louis Vuitton store, if that makes any sense. That way, when you do get your goodies, you're able to put them inside of the other suitcase, the second suitcase, with a little bit more ease without having to worry about having too much clothing or something like that. Now, I know a lot of people end up purchasing their items the last day that they're at a destination, to be able to make sure that they don't have all those goodies inside of the hotel room. However, I have done both, and I feel that for me, what makes sense for me anyways, is I like to go at the beginning of the trip. I go for what I want to get. I get my wish list out of the way or anything like that. And that way I really know how much money I have left over for the trip, as far as other souvenirs that I can get. That's just the way that I work. It works for me. But like I said, I've done both things, and you can definitely do that. Or maybe, I remember bringing back, I ended up in one of the carry-ons that I had, actually both carry-ons were fairly empty for the same reason, because I don't want a lot of the items that I purchased to be checked in. You just never know. What if they end up losing, your luggage like they lost mine? I want to have most of the pieces that I bring back to the States, with me. So it was fairly empty, and we were able to fill that up. I had all the boxes from Louis Vuitton inside of the bigger luggage. So if that got checked in, that's fine. The bags went in there as well. All of the other goodies went in my keep-all, went in the carry-on, went in my purse. I wanted to make sure they were with me at all times, if that makes any sense. Some things I just couldn't help. They were just, they were there. But I would suggest that, and I would, as much space as you can possibly kind of fit in is what I would do. And as far as the $1,000, yes, U.S. residents, for their customs forms, when you come back into the States, you get a duty-free exemption of $800 per person. So with me and my husband, it was $1,600. If you go over that $1,600 mark or over that $800 mark, you are susceptible to paying taxes or extra duties when you come into the States. But even if you pay that, it'll still be a lot cheaper than if you were to get the item here in the States. And as I told you guys before, whenever it comes to any government paperwork, you never want to forge the truth. You never want to say, okay, I didn't spend this much. Well, really, it was this much, just because you want to avoid the taxes. It'll go a lot worse if they find out that what is not on the customs form is not truthful. I'm not saying that you would do that, but I'm just letting you guys know that I don't advise anyone doing that. But yeah, I really think I might end up doing one of those videos, because it's really hard to explain. And I want to go into more detail, but if I did that, then this video would be a million years long. So hopefully that was able to help a little bit. But I might end up doing that video. I might. Okay, and last question, Carol S. A tad personal, but a few videos back, you mentioned paying your mortgage. How long have you been a homeowner? You look really young. I thought you lived with your parents. Laughing out loud. Okay, so I haven't lived with my parents for quite some time now. I bought my first house. How old was I? I was, oh my goodness, really? I was 22 years old when I bought my first house. Yeah, and actually, yeah, I bought my first house when I was 22, and actually I have, renting it out to one of my cousins, so I'm there all the time, but yeah, so my first house, my very first house I bought when I was 22, my goodness, wow, and, I still moved out way before I bought my house, so, yeah, no, I don't live with my parents. I know, sometimes I've gotten that before. Some people are like, oh, you live off mom and dad. I do not. I do not. This girl works really hard for what she wants. All right, you guys. So that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize if I rambled on some of these questions, but I really wanted to go in depth on them. And I'm sure this video is a lot longer than, I think it's at the 31 minute mark right now. But sorry for rambling. And I will see you all tomorrow with a wear and tear video. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.